Thank you.
Good. So today I'm going to talk about the Sabah postcards of Victor Cayman, who's usually just known as Victor Wa. I should say this is not a polished performance of that. There's lots for me. I'm still trying to find out plenty about this, so it's a fact-finding mission as much as anything else. If anyone can help me out with some of the facts to do with these postcards,
which are on budget,
it'd be great. So I should say there's a picture of Victor Wa, who died about 10 years ago. There's an excellent short biography in P.K. Lim's wonderful book, wonderfully illustrated book, North Borneo: A Collective History. So here are just a few facts about him. He studied photography and cinematography in London. And what I'm going to show you a photo in a minute, but he's famous for the producing color photos of Merdeka, Malaysia. Merdeka, of course, means freedom. So on the Merdeka Day, when Malaysia became independent, he was a member of many photographic societies and was awarded the Order of Kinabalu, which is for meritorious service to Sabah. And he had a shop in Kota Kinabalu, which, again, if anyone can help me with any information about it, I'd be most welcome, because I know relatively little about it. So this is one of the famous photos that was taken on Merdeka Day. In fact, this is in Kota Kinabalu. So Merdeka Day actually happened, I believe, 2 weeks after Sabah or the Federation of Malaysia actually came together. And Victor Wa was working for the Sabah Information Department at that time, and he was sent along to take some photos, black and white photos. But of his own initiative, he had his own camera, and he bought some color film, and he just a color film which just had 12 exposures on it, which cost $20, which was a lot of money in that time. Plus, it would take an extra $50 to develop it, which had to be done in Singapore. And he took 7 famous photos, the only one known for color photos known of not only this ceremony, but any of the Malaysia state independence ceremonies at that time. So it's quite something. So this, what's shown here is a modern, what I call a truly modern postcard. This one only dates to about, I don't know, it's on the 50th anniversary, so it's about 10 years ago. A modern postcard showing one of the photos. So what I'm going to be talking about today is the postcards produced by Victor Wa, and for me, they're my favorite color postcards of any series in my collection. The color is absolutely wonderful on these cards. They were produced, as we'll see, in the 1970s and 80s. One thing that, so this is one of from the Kit Sang series that we'll come to. One thing that Victor Wa was quite keen on is he had, as I said, he was a member of many photographic societies. He liked putting all the initials after his name and what have you on the postcards. So here's one card dating to 1988. And I've been trying to identify what all those acronyms stand for, and I haven't completely succeeded. Here's my list. So see, I've nailed quite a few of them, such as the associateship of the Royal Photographic Society wasn't too difficult. But there's quite a few other ones. Can anyone help me with any of these? You can see I've got question marks and absences against some. Of course, I've trolled Google and what have you, trying to find these things out. It's amazing how quickly things are forgotten if they're not written down, which is one reason why I give these talks and write for the journal. So if anyone can help me out with any of these, either now or afterwards, please do send me a message. What's FSCC? CC to me sounds like Camera Club, maybe. But can I find out what it is? Absolutely not. So there are many unknowns here. And you can see he was president of the Sabah Photographic Society. This guy was a big name. He was very well known, but he was a very humble guy. All right, so there are 3 postcard series that I'm going to describe briefly. I'm going to go through all of which use photographs by Victor Roy. Firstly, the Labuan Sports Centre, and the dates here are I've put down are the earliest dated cards in each series that I've seen, as in postally with postmark or what have you. So the earliest for sure known date. Labuan Sports Centre, which I think they used his photographs, but Victor didn't himself sell these cards. They were sold in Labuan. Liman and Kit Sang, and both of which were sold by Victor Roy himself in his shop, I believe. And there's only a relatively narrow gap. The earliest Liman I have is 1978. The earliest Kit Sang was 1982. I think it's been blocked. 1982. Liman appeared to only last for 4 or 5 years, maybe even less. And I don't know why, what happened, what caused the transition from Liman to Kit Sang. As a result, the Liman cards, there are about 50 of them in the series. I have about 25 or 30. These are so-called modern postcards. I think that term should be dropped. These are 40 to 50 years old. That to me is not very modern. I would say they're uncommon to rare. If I manage to collect all 50 before I expire, I'll be amazed. I remember when it's Nicholas Tan and PKM, Olympic Kent, were collecting the Philip Funk cards, and they finally got the last one, however many there were. And this is absolutely fantastic. Do I ever think I'm going to get all of these? No, unless someone somewhere has a collection. They're super difficult to find all the different ones. And I think they're going to become very, very collectible in the future because they're beautiful and because they're rare. Already the prices are going up a lot. And as we'll see, there are several Kit Sang series to collect. So we'll start with Liman. Oh, sorry, we'll start. I'm going to do with just 3 pictures of Labuan cards first. So you can see these are copyright Labuan Sports Centre, these cards. This one's 1980. Wonderful colour photography. It's just sensational. These cards were sold, I believe, just in Labuan throughout a period of about 10 years, maybe a little more. We've got copyright Labuan Sports Centre, whereas interesting on Victor Roy's own cards for Liman and Kit Sang, he doesn't put copyright on. So slightly unusual. Anyway, just a lot of what I'm going to show today is just some nice cards to look at. We can just enjoy the photography, right? That's what a lot of today is going to be about, because they are wonderful cards. Here's an Angklong from Labuan. Anyone know what the Angklong is? I do. Angklong is a woodwind instrument. This is a pipe band, effectively, Sabah pipe band. You have to blow it up to see that they're all holding their instruments. This one says coconut water is good for your daughter. So Victor Roy was took wonderful pictures of particularly of Kinabalu, but he also took wonderful pictures of the peoples of Sabah. So that's my very brief. I'm not going to focus too much on the Labuan Sports Centre cards. Again, they're not common, and I only have one more in my collection, 4. There are probably more. If anyone has, so for all the series I show today, if anyone has any more cards in their collections that they would like to share with me, sending me a scan or what have you. I'm not showing my complete collection today. I'm showing selected cards, but it would be much appreciated as I try to put together listings for all these cards. So we move on to Lehman printing. It's called Lehman printing. I believe, I was informed by PKLM that Victor Waugh had a shop, I believe it was in Kota Kinabalu, and it was called Lehman. As for Lehman printing, I don't know precisely where Lehman printing as such was, in other words, where these cards were actually printed. So any information on that would be most welcome. In KK, but really, did they have those kind of facilities? Well, they probably did, but at that time, but were there, I don't know of any printing presses in KK at that time. An interesting feature of these cards is the numbering. This card is number K5-20. And that actually means it's series number 20 in the series, not number 5, it's number 20 in the series, and it has a unique series of numbers going up to, I think the 49 is the last one I have, so probably maybe 50 in the series. And then there are sub-series, which we'll come to, which were numbered within the total series. This is number 5 in series K. Series K shows pictures of kampongs and of Kinabalu. So Victor Waugh produced something interesting there for collectors such as myself to try and work a way around all of that stuff. This is just a lovely card. It's the earliest one I've got, just to remind myself, yeah, 1978. Lovely stamps sent to Germany. And so I just have one or two more lovely cards to show. The last one was sent from KK. This one was sent from Tawau. So this is K2-6. It's number 6 in the series, the Mongabong Water Village, which I believe is the same as known as the Menkabong Water Village today. I believe it's still there. Very nice. So it's Victor Waugh had a shop in KK, but I've also the cards also were postally sent from Tawau, Sandakan. So I don't know whether he had other outlets in these other places or whether his was the only shop selling these cards. I really don't know, and people that just moved on and traveled around and sent them. But they are very nice cards. Again, fantastic color. How to take that? I presume he used color filters to do all of that. In general, I'm a great fan of black and white photography, because black and white photography is pure, particularly anaphoto. Of course, anaphoto is probably the number one thing I collect. That was basic Kuching, of course, KF Wong. But these color cards, well, just fantastic. Color can never be true color. That's the thing about color. As I said, he produced wonderful cards of the peoples of Sabah. So his young Kadazan, Nasut basket, P635, P736 Kadazans. A lot of P. So P stands for people, I believe. I have to guess. People cards. I've got another couple. Show you. Two young Muruk girls from Pensiangan. Yeah, I forget what their headdresses are called. I used to know all that kind of stuff, but lovely traditional dress, and then the tamu. People seen at this Sunday market. And these are numbers P11, 40, and P20. So that means that there were at least 20 people cards. They're in many ways the hardest to find. And I have less than half of them. More lovely cards. Caius World Orchid. F, I believe, stands as the flower series. So it's number 12 in the total in the series, and the Nepenthes Rafflesiana. Just totally great cards. All right, so here are the sub-series as I've found them so far. K, there's a number of K cards, kampong, and they show pictures of kampongs or Kinabalu, so it's a bit confusing. There are 2 M series, at least, I think there are 2. One is mines, which just have 2 cards I have in. Then the second M series are mountains, flowers, night scenes, people, rock scenes, and one of Tanjong Arrow. So as I say, if anyone has any of these cards in their collection, I would really appreciate it if you could let me know of, because I'd like to put together a listing. Ultimately, the aim is to try and find all 50. If I manage to do that, say before I expire, I've done well. At some point, I'll publish them in the journal, maybe sooner rather than later as an incomplete listing. Okay, so then we move on to Kit Sang. So, whereas I don't know where the Lee Man press was, I believe the Kit Sang press was in Kuala Lumpur. Though I have no definitive proof of it, but I think it was. And there are 4 Kit Sang series, and again, I've put the earliest date as in postally used date that I have before. So I've tried to put them in order. There's an unnumbered cards first, then there's a V series, then a VW88, so VW is presumably standing for Victor War, and the 88 means that those were actually released in 1988, which is consistent with the earliest postmark card I have. And finally, a P series. And it's interesting, you can actually look at the credits that Victor Wa puts against his name, or the initials he puts after his name, and compare them for the 4 different series, and you can see them kind of building up with time, which is another kind of supports the chronology that I have here. Does someone know what WDT stands for? WDT 299 Kota Kinabalu. Anyone know what that stands for? There's something to do with the address, but I don't know what it is. I mean, I know some Malay, I'm not fluent, but I don't know what still don't know what WDT stands for. And it's amazing how easily things are forgotten. So I'm just going to take you through these 4 series to finish my talk with some nice examples to look at. Not going to be a long talk. So these are the unnumbered cards. Initially, these are the earliest Kit Sang cards. Somewhat strange that Victor Wa didn't number them, given that he numbered the Lee Man cards. So anyway, here we have it, September 1982, sent out to Sandakan's Sumayao dance, which is performed by Bajau girls. So the Kota Ballad Tamu. These cards are a great record of what was going on at the time. 1985. Again, I simply love the postcards of traditional dress, not just for Sabah, but for Sarawak as well. Kadazan dancer. Look at that headdress of the Bajau girl. I should really gone back and looked at what it's called, but it must have been pretty heavy. So we move on. Kit Sang Press, the V series. Sent out to Kota Kinabalu in 1986. I'm only showing a selection of my cards. So I've got quite a lot of Kit Sang cards. Do I know how many there were in total? No, but the series numbers go up to about 20. So we're talking somewhere between 50 and 100 cards to collect. It's quite a lot. Some of them are relatively common, but others are not. And I'm missing tons. Rather, I'm using a family portrait. Rather than interesting card to send. Nice picture of Kota Kinabalu itself, presumably around about 1987. I always think these cards are a good record in comparing these kind of images for different decades. Bajau horsemen from Kota Balud. So the Bajaus were renowned as horsemen. I believe they came from the Philippines originally. They come across, and so the Bajaus, yeah, an interesting group of people. And there are some great cards, not just from Victor Wa, but something like Happy Photo, so on. The Rungus Dusun, Sabah State Mosque, Sabah Museum. Does it still look, I presume those two buildings still look much the same today? I would love to come. I would, have my health permitting, I would love to come back to Sarawak and Sabah to see all these things. But not easy for me, but not this year, maybe next. But then we have the VW series, which I actually have number 88 in them. So I believe these were released in 1988. Even for a night scene like this, the colors, the color photography is exceptional. So this is the Yayasan Sabah building. Lovely picture of Muruts and Number 1. It's near Keningau. The traditional costume. So 1990. One thing that's very good for collectors at this time is there are a lot of quizzes or competitions going on in mostly out of Kuala Lumpur, where people would send in postcards and you would win prizes. This one was called More Juteria, and you can see the person who sent in their address, and they send the answer, and there was apparently sacks and sackfuls of these postcards, most of which were thrown away, but one or two of the sacks were kept. And it's a great source of postcards. We're lucky that a lot of postcards were sent, because you have to remember with what so-called modern postcards, because I collect beyond this. I collect 1990s through to 2000s. A lot of these cards are going to be very rare, because what happens with so-called modern postcards is people get one, they pin it up on their kitchen board or what have you for a few weeks, and then it goes in the bin. Very many of them are not kept. So these postcard series, as I say, was the very early postcard series in the early 20th century, were collected and kept. Many of these weren't, and so these will become harder and harder to get and very collectible in the future. It's a nice card. Sacred Heart Cathedral in Kota Kinabalu. Wow, what a great image. Rungus Girls. Sabah Orchid. So then we come to the final Kitsang Press series, which is the P series, which I believe were the last cards that were released. You see, this is P16, and yet I can't remember how many P cards I have. It's not very many at all. And again, I make the point, these cards are now, well, only 30 years old. But finding a complete collection, unless there's some lucky person somewhere who's actually retained all of these and kept them and has a collection, which should be absolute gold dust. Collecting is going to be really hard. Get the whole lot. And on P8, Mount Kinabalu. Images of Kinabalu were some of the best taken by Victor Wa. It had been my ambition to, my dad, who's a famous forester, you probably know Rob Anderson in who worked in Sarawak. He climbed Kinabalu. It had been my ambition to climb Kinabalu one day. Sadly, I won't do so because of my bad legs, but maybe one day I'll come and at least see the mountain. And this is my final slide, which is, again, two absolutely fantastic color images. I mean, you can't beat color like this. The one on the right-hand side, I think, is particularly exceptional. The color of these images is just out of this world. And that's it. I'm going to stop there. I'll leave that picture up. Okay.
Thank you, Tom.
I hope you enjoyed the wonderful pictures. And if anyone can help me, as you see, I've got a lot of information to find out yet about Lehman printing. Find out the numbering of the cards. I've best of 50%. I have a lot of these cars, but it's the best 50% of the whole lot. Lehman and Kit Sang, maybe slightly more than 50%. These cars are hard to get.
Thank you, Roger. Thank you, Tom. I think Francis has a sample, but I think I will ask see whether I can see my view. I can use in the. I'll send you a copy after he sent it to me.
I have that one, but send me it anyway, just in case. But I have that one. I haven't shown all of them. I recognize that one.
Courtesy of Francis. All right, thank you.
Nice, nice. Yeah. Yeah. And if anyone knows or can find anything out about, particularly about Lehman, or anything about Victor Wa's shop, or if anyone has any contacts, for example, I tried to contact Victor Wa has a son, Michael. I tried to contact him, but was unsuccessful. No criticism, you know. But if anyone has any contacts, I've talked to PK Lim, so I get on well with PK Lim, and I have to thank PK Lim because he was some of the cars that I showed. He were originally in his collection, and he passed them on to me, which is very kind of him.
Tom, I do believe that there is some of these postcards sent to Chunky Ted himself. I think he shared with us, addressed to him in a WhatsApp group. I'll check it.
Chunky Ted is always a good person to ask because
there was a postcard of Victor Wang sent by someone else to him. He has shared with us somewhere in our WhatsApp group. I'll go and check with him, and I also emailed to Roger. Roger will direct the email to you together with Francis.
That would be great if we could make a real effort to try and find more cars, and then at that point, at some point, maybe within the next year, I'll start writing all of this up for the journal or what have you.
I think our site Chai Po Chin will be in a better position because I think he is into postcard. I'll ask him. I don't know whether he's in the participant list. I don't think he's in the participant list. So
okay, this is being recorded.
So is Chunky Ted and Chai Po Chin.
That would be great. Any help, we much appreciate. That's what. So I think these meetings are very good for disseminating information. They also provide an opportunity to get information.
So the one address to Chunky Ted, the name on there's the address to the name. You hold on. I'll give you the yeah. Can you see this one? Okay. Is it the Chunky Ted? I'll put it on the screen. This is another one. You show another one to Chunky Ted. Right? Another one. No.
That's nice.
Okay. You can see the background. I don't know whether can you see it's to Chunky Ted. Hello.
Yeah, it's a bit smaller because that is you're small on my screen at the moment. Yes.
Permission from him. He shared with us with this one. The cover side is what? What's the cover side? I'm not sure. The picture side, the pictorial side. It could be this one. It could be this one. Same as the one that you saw on the screen.
That's the one on my last slide. Yes. You find that some of the cards are are relatively more common than others.
Yeah.
So it's not like they're all equally common. I think a lot of them are very rare.
It could be this one also. I'm not sure. It could be this one. Sorry to use this method.
Yeah, I showed that one as well. Yeah.
All right. I have permission from Changkite, and then I will come back
That'd
to
be
you.
great.
I'll go through Roger.
Okay.
Thank you very much. There is a very interesting area, not my domain. Very few are in postcard, except Chai Fo Chin and Changkite.
Well, at some point, I'll let other people give talks in it. But at some point, I'll do my Sarawak cards. Of course, I collect Sarawak cards. The biggest thing I collect there is or the Anna photo by K.F. Wong. I wouldn't be able to do that all in one go. That would take me 2 hours, you know, because there's so many different series and what have you. But yeah, so at some point I've got several. I collect Sarawak cards, and one thing that's really important for all these so-called modern cards is to try and put, and for the earlier cards as well, is to put together listings where we can. Are you
considering printing a book or publish a book? I mean, if the book would be able to capture the whole collections.
So for you mean for the Victor War?
Yeah, I'm not sure how.
I'm not sure there's enough for a book for Victor War. I need to know more about him himself, but it's my ambition. Yeah.
All right.
Are there any more comments people got to make? If anybody has them, Tom would love to have copies, obviously. Tom, can I, on behalf of everybody, thank you for the talk. I hope before too long you could do one or more talks on Sarawak postcards, which I'm sure some of us have. I have to say most of the ones I have, the picture side is downwards because it's the postmark on the back that I've collected, but I do occasionally turn them over to see what's there. But I'm sure
sorry, I laugh because you mean, of course I enjoy the philatelic side of it all, and, postmark and all that. Oh, but I adore the photography and what have you. You take something like Anna photo, okay, how can you not turn it over? I mean, it's outstanding. But I would be absolutely delighted to give talks about. I have several Sarawak series. I'd be delighted to give talks about them.
Tom, I'll be in touch because it sounds as though everybody on the call today would be interested in seeing what are undoubtedly delightful cards, but also in helping you assemble full lists of all of them. So at that point, can I wish everybody well? And there will be a talk next week, which is again built around postcards, this time Sarawak postcards, when Malcolm, I hope, will be telling us the results of a talk that he gave a year ago now, I can't remember, which was all about the mysterious writer, postcard sender called Walter, who took the postcards and printed, as far as we can see, printed his own, and then sent them to South India, and by a strange chain, which Malcolm will outline, and with help from various people outside the Borneo Philatelic Society and outside PSKS. I think Malcolm will be telling us who Walter was. And it's an interesting and slightly sad story, but nonetheless, it's an interesting one. So I hope you'll be with us next Sunday at 4 p.m. in Kuching, 9 a.m. In a very sunny, at the moment at least, very sunny UK. So anyway, enjoy the rest of the day, and I'll look forward to seeing everybody next week.
Okay, thank you, Tom. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Well done.
Cheers. Okay, who's going to press the go button?